Hello, I hope you are very well. Coming up, I've got the inside story on how many times Meghan Markle broke protocol whilst a serving royal, and why I believe she still wants to bring down the royal family. And who is the real Princess Catherine? Her brother James reveals all in a deeply moving interview. And I'll be honest, this job is not getting any easier. Yes, the Mark Dolan Show has a growing army of loyal fans, an incredible community. You guys are the show, but there's an enemy in our midst. My neighbour's cat, Reg, who seems intent on taking the project down. I've got exclusive video footage of his nefarious antics at the end of the show. But first, an airline stewardess has fed the monster of Meghan Markle's ego by calling her a queen. Don't do that! She'll start to believe you. Now, Meghan flew to New York for her Time magazine 100 Most Influential People event and made a lasting impression on the cabin crew. This is Nina Vida, who is a New York-based American Airlines flight attendant, telling the story on her TikTok account.
You guys will not believe who I just had on my flight, who I had a pleasure of serving. The Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex, the Meghan Markle was on my flight, and she's so beautiful in person. She was so sweet. She wrote us a little handwritten note back. So we wrote her a note that said, "It's a pleasure of serving you. We love you real bad." And she wrote this note back that says, "Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. All love right back to you." And then I think it says, "Forever, Megan." You know, I can barely read this cursive, but look at this handwriting is giving rich. It's giving expensive. It's giving princess. She also said she loved my nails. And the captain on my last flight said they were intense. So, sir, it doesn't matter what you think. The Queen says she likes them.
Where to start? Well, look, let's start with the positives. Let's talk about this young woman, this flight attendant, Nina Vida. She seems like a charming young lady. In fact, she's very charismatic. She's very natural. She's very authentic. Everything that her heroine, Meghan Markle, is not. But, you know, a very articulate person. I'd be more than delighted to be served on a flight by Nina Vida. She could bring me one of those little microwave meals, perhaps a glass or two of Chianti or Pinot Grigio. I don't know if you've had this experience on a flight, but I try to connect with the cabin crew, have a good relationship, because it's how I roll. It's my nature anyway. I'm quite a friendly person. But also what happens is if you're nice to the cabin crew, they'll sometimes give you extra booze. It's happened to me in the past where they just chuck another bottle in your direction, which is a charming thing on a long-haul flight. So Nina Vida, no problem with this young woman. She's very beautiful as well, attractive young lady. She's no doubt got a big future in the airline industry, but she's made a colossal mistake by feeding the monster that is Meghan Markle's ego. So Nina works for American Airlines, which is a great airline. They're more than welcome to sponsor the Mark Dolan Show. By the way, any sponsors we get, I will be vetting them thoroughly, because there is nothing I will advertise to you that is not top quality and premium, much like the show itself. To be quite honest, I think a cat food manufacturer may show some interest, given the regular appearances of Reg, my neighbour's cat, on the show. Don't forget, Reg is coming at the end of the video. But first, Nina Vida. So she's a cabin crew. She's a flight attendant. In the UK, we call, rather sexist, I'm afraid, but we call those women that work on planes trolley dollies. Actually, I think it might be men and women. I think originally it was referring to females, but I think now a trolley dolly is pretty much all of them. They wear a lot of makeup, don't they? Why do flight attendants wear so much makeup? Is it makeup or is it radiation from the cabin pressure? Who knows? But they do a good job. It's not an easy job, is it? Anyway, look, we don't have time for this because we got to talk about Meghan and her exploding ego. So Nina Vida is working with American Airlines, and she's got something called a TikTok account. Do you know what that is? It's a social media website thing. So it's a video platform where people just talk about their lives. And she talks about her travels and her job as an airline stewardess, as a trolley dolly. And she was very excited because one of her guests, one of her passengers, was Meghan Markle, my husband. So lucky her. Didn't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Duchess Sussex. Meghan Sussex, don't you know? So that's fine. So she's got Meghan on the flight. And maybe she's a bit nervous because Meghan's quite a famous person now and infamous. But she's gone on TikTok, done a video recounting how delightful the experience was. So let's go through what she said. She said, "You guys will not believe who I had on my flight." Now, when she said that, I was quite excited, actually, because I thought maybe she had a talented actress like Meryl Streep, who's won at least 2 Oscars, hasn't she? Or perhaps Daniel Craig, former 007, you know, a star of great status. I thought maybe she'd had Sir Elton John on the flight, who is, I think we can all agree, one of the greatest songwriters in the history of music. That's who I was hoping. But by the way, Elton completely ditched the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Elton has moved on. Elton has cancelled the Sussexes. They are not still standing. And sorry doesn't seem to be the hardest word because he has dropped that couple like a hot coal, and rightly so. But no, it wasn't Sir Elton. It wasn't Daniel Craig. It wasn't Meryl Streep. It wasn't a former president of the United States, a former Australian prime minister, a former UK prime minister. We've had a few of those recently. No. It was my husband, H. So she gets on the plane. And this is what the young woman says. Lovely Nina. She says, "You guys will not believe who I had on my flight. The Meghan Markle," like this other kind. By the way, Nina, be careful. Don't call her Meghan Markle because she will take you down. She will take you down to Chinatown. Don't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Meghan Sussex! She's so beautiful in person, is what Nina said. She's so beautiful in person. Now, this tells me that Nina's a lovely person because Nina is a delightful, positive human being, unlike Meghan. And so she sees the good in people. And that I think is spectacular. But she's obviously wrong because Meghan is not sweet. She hasn't got a sweet bone in her body. She's toxic. She's acid. She's hydrochloric acid. And also, what Nina has not accounted for is that Meghan is an actress. She's not a good actress, obviously. But she is good at pretending to be something she's not. So she's gone on this plane and she smiled. Meghan Markle, my husband. And she's put on an act for that short haul flight because she's flown from Montecito to New York City, which, how many hours is that? It's a few hours, isn't it, on a plane? And so it's short haul, relatively. Is it? Forgive my ignorance. How far is it? Who the heck knows? Big news. The Mark Dolan show in the summer is going to do a tour of the United States where these videos will be coming from major US locations. This is not a drill. Watch this space. The Mark Dolan show on the road in summer 2025. I'll be going to New York. I'll be going to California. I'll be going to Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City. I will be going to the White House. I might meet the great Donaldo. He doesn't really like the Markles, does he? But anyhow, that's another story. So look, Nina has not realised that Meghan is good at pretending to be something that she's not. Meghan pretended to be a lovely person when she came to the UK. She ingratiated herself with the British people and the royal family and the press. And we were all very excited. I promise you, I was here. We loved Meghan. I promise you, we loved her. The press thought she was a lot more interesting than lovely Catherine, who was nicknamed Waity Katie because she waited so long for that engagement, for the ring on her finger. But Meghan was a rock star. We were so excited. We were buzzing about her, and the newspaper editors were just beyond delighted because they knew that she had a certain presence. She had something about her and a great backstory, mixed race heritage, a divorcee, an actress, a Hollywood star, and an American. And there's nothing the British press like more than a young American actress. It's just exciting. So anyhow, but she pretended. And then, of course, we found out. We saw the true Meghan. Nina has fallen hook, line and sinker for Meghan's act. She's so beautiful in person, so sweet. No, she's not Meghan. Nina, she's pretending. And then she referred to Meghan, and this was her big mistake. She referred to Meghan as the Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex. She's none of those things, Nina. She's not a princess and never was, because she didn't behave like a princess. You see, that's the thing about life. You can give people any number of titles and adjectives and descriptions, but unless they actually live that, unless they have actions that demonstrate the power of those words, it's not authentic, it's not real. Like, I can't go around saying, I'm a nice person. I mean, I did say earlier, I'm friendly. That's different. I think you can be provably friendly or not friendly, but it's not for me to say if I'm a nice person. And it's certainly not for Meghan to call herself a queen, a princess, and a Duchess of Sussex, and HRH. So, Nina, I mean, what happened to her judgment? Because I'm looking at this flight attendant, and like I said, I'm giving her 5 stars. I just think she seems like an outstanding human being, an impressive young woman. And I don't know why her judgment lapsed so badly for that flight. I wonder if it was the altitude, because there's less oxygen up there. And it could be that when your brain is being starved of red blood cells and the oxygen blood count is low, it could be that your judgment is diminished somewhat. It could just be, it's just possible that Meghan Markle, my husband, is in fact quite nice when you are at 38,000 feet and your brain's not working correctly. It could be like a mind-altering substance, like a pill that makes Meghan Markle seem like a pleasant, well-adjusted human being. But I think that's what's happened to Nina. Is I think that the cabin pressure, the altitude, possibly a bit of motion sickness, has made her think that the Duchess of Sussex is a nice person and the Queen. I mean, can you imagine Meghan reading those words, the Queen, or watching that video? How many times has Meghan watched that video since it dropped on TikTok? She's probably got it on a loop, being called the Queen, because of course that's what she wants. It's what she always wanted. She wanted to become the Queen. She was never going to be happy being married to the spare and for Catherine to become the Queen. Because Meghan pretends, okay, and she pretends that she's on good terms with Princess Catherine, but we know her inner thoughts on that. I like Princess Catherine. She is my friend. Upon her, I wish no harm. Meghan did not pose for a photograph, but Meghan and the crew exchanged handwritten notes because Meghan is obsessed with letter writing and writing things down. And by the way, she can't cook, but what she's good at doing is writing labels that go on food items. I don't know why, but she loves to label things. I think it's obsessive. I don't know. Is she on the spectrum? What's going on with Meghan? But she likes to write things down with her creepy calligraphy, which is all about control. And it's all about how you present yourself to the public, to the outside world. That's what the calligraphy is. That is a metaphor for Meghan's approach to life, is about presentation, about illusion. Everything that's on the surface, how you are perceived, is her focus, not the reality, which is why her cooking involved taking stale pretzels from the supermarket and shaking them out of one bag and putting them into another and calling that haute cuisine. So she likes to write the notes. And so the cabin crew have written a note. She's written a note back. So the note to Meghan, shown in this TikTok video, was, "It's a pleasure serving you. Love you real bad. Signed, the AA Girlies, American Airlines." Now that is really sweet. And I can't criticize them for writing Meghan such a lovely note. But what they didn't realize is that this person that they've written a note to is a megalomaniac, an egomaniac, a narcissist, somebody with an ego the size of Jupiter. So you're really not helping writing her these letters because it does feed the monster. Anyway, Meghan writes response on a napkin. Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. Now, what does that mean? You know me well. Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. What does that mean, you know me? They don't know you at all. They've never met you. This is the first time they've met you. You are the passenger on a flight to which they are attending and providing hospitality. They don't, you know me well. What does that even mean? You know me well. It's always about Meghan, isn't it? She always brings it back to me, me, me. You know me well. I don't understand what she's saying. The only relevant bit of that sentence is the word me. Thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. Do they? No, they don't. They certainly don't know the real Meghan. Only Harry knows the real Meghan because Harry lives, in my opinion, I would imagine, in an underground layer in the basement of their Montecito mansion, a kind of serial killer's sort of dungeon where she just lowers Wendy burgers down in a bucket twice a day. Thank you, my love. Thank you for the Wendy burger. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. The world's least happy millionaire, Prince Harry. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. Hashtag Wendy burger. Then she goes, all love right back to you. I don't really understand what that means either. I mean, that's a word salad. All love right back to you. Would it be so wrong for her just to say, thank you for the kind note. It's really appreciated. I had a great flight. Can't she do that? Why does she have to say, you know me well? All love right back to you. Huh? Strange. What's going on with this woman? And then, here is the kicker. Are you ready for the mic drop? Oh my God. She goes, signed as ever, Meghan. As ever. So in a note to the cabin crew who have looked after her, she's done an advertisement for her failing retail brand. So even a friendly note on a serviette is an opportunity for Meghan to self-aggrandize, to self-publicize, and to flog her awful goods. Which, by the way, as I pointed out in the previous video, there's been no stock for her failing retail brand for 2 months. She claims that they sold out at the beginning because there were 11 jars of dusty jam that no one wants and flour sprinkles, which I believe are poisonous and possibly hallucinogenic. We're not supposed to eat flowers. Have you ever seen anybody just chewing up daffodils in their mouth? I don't think so. Have you ever seen any? No one eats flowers. It's for the bees. Anyhow, so she's written, signed as ever, Meghan. She's done an advertisement for her failing company on the serviette for the cabin crew. Where's the mic drop? Do me a favour. Signed as ever, Meghan. I'm absolutely horrified by this. And it just tells you how cynical Meghan is. She's always selling. It's all PR. Her whole life is PR, public relations. How she is perceived. So Nina Vida also claimed that Meghan complimented her manicure. She also said she loved my nails. Because apparently there was the captain of the airplane, who is, I'm assuming, a man. He's an airline pilot. He didn't like her nails. He said they were intense. And but Meghan liked the nails. And so she said she loved my nails. So it doesn't matter what the captain thinks. The Queen says she likes them. Stop calling her the Queen. She'll stop believing you. Because she's sociopathic. And she'll think that's true because her boundaries between truth and fantasy are non-existent. There is no boundary between the two. Meghan has blurred reality and fiction to the extent where even she doesn't know what is true anymore. And she said that she liked Nina's nails. I like Nina's nails. I don't know how she does the washing up. They're very, very long nails. It's tricky for the washing up. It might impede her role as cabin crew as well, don't you think? Sort of opening sort of food parcels and things like that, and cracking open bottles of beer. And I think it strikes me as slightly impractical. I mean, I think they look quite nice. The only other concern I've got for Nina's nails is the germs. You get a lot of germs under nails. I don't think it's that hygienic. I don't think I'd want her preparing my in-flight meal with those long talons, because there's bacteria. There's millions of Do you know you can get worms? You can get worms from under nails. You can. I had a friend at school who used to bite his nails and then he'd get worms. And that is not a barrel of laughs. Let me tell you, that is not a barrel of laughs. So, but hopefully Nina doesn't have that. I'm sure she doesn't. Very healthy young woman with a completely clear digestive tract. I've got no doubt about that. But Meghan loves writing these handwritten letters. It turns out she was once a calligraphy instructor during her acting career. On her former lifestyle blog, The Tig, she wrote, handwritten notes are a lost art. The idea of someone taking the time to put pen to paper is really special. Well, she's right about that. Unless the note that you've written is an advert, is publicity for your failing retail brand. It's absolutely wild. Anyhow, there you go. But well done, Nina. You've become an internet sensation and a hot topic on the Mark Dolan show. I'm sure we'll return to that story because it might not be the last we've heard of it. But let me tell you that we need to get to a very interesting piece in the Mail Online today. And it's about the number of times that Meghan Markle has broken royal protocol as a serving royal. So, for example, she wore a 16-foot veil despite being a divorcee. Queen Elizabeth reportedly disapproved, but the Queen, she swallowed so much nonsense to keep Meghan happy. And what thanks did she get? She got no thanks. She got it thrown back in her face because they were so accommodating to Meghan. And as with Nina and her note, all they were doing, unwittingly, all they were doing was feeding the monster. Princess Catherine is my friend. I like Princess Catherine. Upon her, I wish no harm. So, divorced women traditionally, marrying into the royal family, don't wear veils. Well, understandably so, because there's no innocence to hide after you've been married and had multiple relationships in Hollywood. I'm so sorry, Meghan. Do me a favour. A blushing bride you were not. So that was the veil that she shouldn't have worn, which she did. She wore a bright white dress for her second marriage. White dresses are traditionally reserved for first-time brides only. Sorry, Meghan, you missed the boat on that one. And again, this surprised Queen Elizabeth. She shouldn't have worn a bright white dress. It is not your first marriage. Now, of course, in the modern world, if you're planning a wedding, I wish you luck and wear what you like. Of course, it's your special day, but not when you're entering a venerated and traditional institution like the royal family. I'm so sorry. She wore ripped jeans at her first public appearance. What an insult. She appeared at the 2017 Invictus Games in ripped denim jeans. She also wore the symbolic husband shirt by Misha Nonu. I mean, how low class is that? Ripped jeans and your husband's dress shirt, or at least that style. The husband shirt look is basically, it's rude. This is a family show. I won't go into details. The implication of the husband shirt is, let's imagine that a woman's gone on a date and she stayed over. Can we just say that? We will say no more. She stayed over. And you know what I mean by that? She stayed over. And the next day she's wants to put something on. She's going to go in the kitchen, make scrambled eggs. And she grabs one of his shirts and that's what she's wearing. Just a big man's dress shirt. And that's the kind of look. It's kind of sensual because it implies what happened the night before. She's in the kitchen, she's stirring the scrambled eggs, and she's wearing only her lover's shirt. That is the messaging. She wore that outfit for her first royal public appearance. So disrespectful. The Queen must have been horrified. Bare legs without tights at the engagement photo call. I mean, even I wouldn't wear bare legs without tights when photographed with Mrs. Dolan for the first time. I would be wearing Spanx, tights, double socks, you name it, a scarf. There would be no part of my innocence that wouldn't be covered on my first photo call with Mrs. Dolan. Bare-legged, I mean, what was she thinking about? This was in October 2017, despite how cold it was. Diana, Catherine, the Queen always wore tights because they are ladies. She wore a $56,000 Ralph and Russo dress with a sheer bust panel. The gown was deemed too revealing for a formal royal photo. The choice shocked traditionalists. She's basically displaying her body in a venerated royal portrait. Frequent public displays of affection. Harry and Meghan kissing, holding hands at royal engagement. It's not the done thing. Catherine and William love each other so much, they're not all over each other like a rash. Neither were Philip and the Queen. She wore a crossbody bag on royal walkabout. Now, royals, normally ladies, they use a clutch bag to avoid initiating handshakes. So they're holding the bag, which is a polite way of saying, I won't be shaking your hand because I'm a member of the royal family and it's not protocol. Meghan broke with custom and she wore a Strathbury crossbody bag in Edinburgh. It left her hands free, signalling openness, breaking protocol, putting her arms around members of the public, posing for selfies, all of which is not the done thing. Did Meghan care? No. Not only was she demonstrating a degree of independence, she was demonstrating her scorched earth policy, which was to destroy the royal family. She wore an off-the-shoulder dress at the Trooping of the Colour. Caroline Herrera off-the-shoulder dress in 2018. Inappropriate for daytime royal events. Too much skin, Meghan. Put it away. She appeared without a hat beside the Queen. Royal women almost always wear a hat for formal events, especially in the company of the late great Elizabeth. She wore all black to a summer event. Again, you don't do that unless you're in mourning. She wore trousers in the royal box at Wimbledon. A mini dress with bare legs at the Hamilton Gala. She went barefoot at Bondi Beach. Royals traditionally keep their shoes on at public beach events. She's gone barefoot. Don't forget, in the last video I mentioned, there was 2 videos ago, that Meghan went barefoot when she first met William and Catherine. How insulting. It was 2 videos ago in which I speculated that Meghan's feet, you don't want to see them because it's going to be it's going to be a car crash, those feet. Going to be lumpy, bunions, ingrowing toenails, athlete's foot central, a whole world of fungal pain. We don't want to see your feet, Megs. Put it away. She wore dark nail polish at the British Fashion Awards. Royals are expected to wear natural and neutral shades. She went for deep burgundy as a screw you. She wore Dior to a royal christening, breaking tradition by not wearing a British designer because she didn't care. She wore blue eyeshadow at the final royal event that she attended, at which point, by the way, it was a total, demolition job at that point. She was, at that point, a wrecking ball. So for her short tenure as a serving royal, her wardrobe was weaponized. This was not fashion. This was not the spirit of independence. It was strategic rebellion. Her choices challenged centuries-old traditions. How arrogant that you think you're so special that you're going to go against the grain of hundreds of years of history. It's not right. So her makeup, her bags, nail color, all of it became an example of acts of defiance. And the truth is that we know that that continues to this day because Meghan is not happy to be out of the royal family. You see, if she was a decent person, she'd be like, do you know what? Being a serving royal, it wasn't for me. I found opening hospital wings quite boring. Fair enough. I don't think it would be my chosen field of endeavour, I'll be honest. Opening hospital wings. The poor Queen, late great Queen Elizabeth, I think she must have thought that every building smelt of paint. Because for her 7 decades on the throne, every single venue that she visited had been painted earlier that day, because that's what they always did. That's what they always do when the royals are coming. You get the paint out and you give everything a good old lick of paint, a good old whitewash. And so, but Meghan was not digging that royal life, and I respect that. That's no problem. I mean, I half respect it, because it's well, don't marry Prince Harry then. Clues in the name. He's called Prince Harry. Yeah. Did you not hear the prince bit? The fact that his grandmother was the Queen of the United Kingdom. Did that escape your attention? That his old man was next in line to the throne? Who? Did that escape your attention, Meghan? Of course it didn't. Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. She thought, I will come in here, I'll do this on my own terms, I'll pretend to be nice, then I'll reveal my true colours, and then I'll get Harry out, and I'll be world famous because I married a prince. So that is her plan. It's worked out beautifully, but the problem is, you see, that the plan is not over, right? It doesn't end there, because Meghan wants to destroy the royal family. And that is her mission, and she won't be happy unless she does. Her greatest fear, the thing that keeps her awake at night, is the prospect of Catherine becoming Queen of the United Kingdom. That is the most triggering thought for Meghan, because once Catherine becomes the Queen of the United Kingdom, Meghan is over. Because Catherine is her kryptonite anyway. Catherine weakens her, because Catherine is the opposite of her. Catherine is truth, beauty, authenticity, integrity, probity. Did I say dignity? Times 100. Grace. And what is Meghan? The opposite of all of those things, which is why she cannot stand her one bit. Don't be fooled by Princess Catherine is my friend. I like Princess Catherine. Upon her, I wish no harm. I'm afraid to say the opposite is the case. Okay, she might not wish physical harm on Catherine, but she certainly wishes emotional harm on Catherine. Many anecdotes about Catherine being reduced to tears by Duchess difficult. And just by her very existence, the books, the TV shows, the podcasts, all of it is designed by Meghan to destroy the royal family. And what's tragic is she's using her numpty husband, Harry, to help destroy the party, the family. Harry doesn't realize he is being used. He is a useful tool. Prince Harry is Meghan Markle's useful idiot. He's a member of the royal family, and she's using him to destroy it. And he doesn't realize that, because he's as thick as two short planks. And he was radicalized during the pandemic by Meghan, brainwashed. I don't like my family. They're all racists and everything. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. It worked. So she is trying to destroy the royal family. I will be using the good offices of the Mark Dolan show to protect the royal family, to preserve it, and to fight for it. I shall fight for the royal family. And I know you're going to help me too. If it's a war, which I believe it is, then I will fight. And I know that you will fight with me. The damage that woman has done to the royal family is incalculable. Shocking allegations, the bitchiness, the gossip, the disloyalty, the lies. But there's no end to it, because it's like an itch that she's got to scratch. Well, we can scratch back, and we can scratch back big time. By the way, before we go, don't forget, talking of scratching and long nails, my neighbour's cat Reg on his way in just a moment. But first, James Middleton has spoken about his deep bond with his sister Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Despite her royal status, in a lovely interview, he has insisted that Catherine has never changed. He said, behind the royal image, she is a sensitive, strong and emotionally intelligent woman. And he says that he has a lifelong bond with Catherine and their sister Pippa. He said, I'm incredibly fortunate to have my two sisters, not just as siblings, but as friends. James said, they've seen me at my best and at my lowest. They've always been there when I've needed them. And on the complexity and strength of sibling love, he says, sibling love is something unique. It can be complicated, but when it's strong, it's one of the most powerful bonds there is. Now, James, by the way, I think you'll agree, a great looking guy. He strikes me as an Edwardian character. He looks like some sort of a historic royal himself. He looks like he could have been king 200 years ago, don't you think? With the beard, well manicured beard, all the rest of it, well maintained beard. But James, astonishingly, in spite of his wealth, his privilege, his relative fame, his royal connections, he's been a very unhappy guy. He's had lots and lots of problems. Not like Prince Harry, humpy dumpy dum, the world's least happy millionaire. James has actually had major mental health conditions, including depression, ADHD, and dyslexia, all of which were diagnosed in 2017. He said he struggles with focus and anxiety ever since school and university. He went undiagnosed for years and went through hell. He said he was in a dark place, experiencing very dark thoughts where he at some point considered taking his own life. He credits his dog Ella, a Cocker Spaniel, with, in a funny way, saving his life. He says, she gave me a reason to get up, to go outside, to care. And this dog's emotional support inspired the writing of a lovely book, which I'm going to buy and I'm going to read. And it's called Meet Ella, the Dog Who Saved My Life. Isn't that wonderful? And it's a wonderful thing that he has reflected on. And he credits Catherine, Pippa, and their mother, Carol. He said, they helped me make it through to the other side when I was at my lowest. And he said that he notes how strong and steady Catherine remains, despite the demands of public royal life. And of course, he knows how hard it's been for Catherine battling cancer. He said, for her and the family, it was a challenging time. And I know for us and our bigger family, it was a challenging time. But we got through it because they love each other. And that's what a functioning family looks like. Your brother, two sisters. Yes, you have your ups and downs. You have your fallings out. You have your fights. But in the end, a powerful bond. And they are three very fine people. Catherine, Pippa, by the way, what an absolutely stunning woman she is. And a talented and intelligent woman. And then you've got the rather handsome, rather dishy James. And then you've got Catherine, who is basically a sort of avatar of a princess. So beautiful as to be almost unreal. She's a Disney princess, isn't she? So that's it. Lovely family. And that's what a good family looks like. Okay, folks, before we go, take a look. Now, Reg, do you realise that my audience are waiting for royal truth bombs? And therefore it's very unhelpful if you go to sleep on my computer, because my computer is responsible for the recording of this program. And I need to hold the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to account. And I'm sure you'd agree that that's the right thing to do. And I need to have a look at the work of the Prince and Princess of Wales, the King, Queen Camilla, and much besides. But you're not helping me, not in any way, shape or form. I do hope you don't relieve yourself on that computer keyboard, because you will cause damage. What's happening now? Are we actually lying down? Oh, time for a bit of bodily maintenance by the looks of it. This just gives you a different angle on Reg. And I think it shows you what I'm up against. There are so many challenges if you're building a media revolution. The first is to grow an audience, which, thanks to your incredible support, is happening, and hugely so. The second is to have a business model. Of course, this is YouTube, who are sharing their advertising revenue with me, which I'm grateful for. And the third thing to do is to build a solid, reliable product. How can I build a reliable product when this borderline wild animal, this feral friend, keeps ambushing the show? It's almost impossible. And he couldn't care less.